Hi guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Sibiano Mtandazo and welcome to our mentorship initiative. So this is the first official video after I've discussed that I'm swapping positions with my channel basically. So I have my notebook right here. So this is actually a to-do list that I did when I was moving into my new apartment. So basically on this video, I will be discussing with you the nitty-gritties of moving into a new apartment. So it could be you moving from an existing apartment, or like myself, it's your first time you ever moving into a new apartment. So basically it's your first time you're looking for an apartment and you need some advice on like what you need to do, what you need to look out for, then stay tuned. So let's just dive right into it. So the first thing you need to do is you need to find an apartment that is basically more convenient for your workplace. So for instance, if you are working in town, it would be better if you find an apartment in town, because then transport will be a bit easy, especially if you will be using public transport, which is another point, the second point I'm going to dive into. So first point is when you are moving into a new apartment or into a new area, find the right location basically. So find a place that is not going to be too far away from work, because you don't want to be traveling for an hour before you get to work. That's just ridiculous, because by the time you get to work you're tired. If you get stuck in traffic, you're going to be traveling for at least like an hour and a half to 2 hours just to get to work in the morning, and then another 2 hours to get to work in the evening. Apart from just being stuck in traffic and getting tired, there's also time wasted unnecessarily, which is something you could have avoided if you moved into an area that is closer to your workplace. Okay, so that's point number one. Point number two, you have to look at transportation. So if you, like myself, when I moved into a new apartment, you did not have a car. If you don't have a car, then it is very much advisable that you find a place that allows public transport in that area, because you don't want to be finding yourself stuck in a position where, for instance, you are using Uber all the time. Uber can be a bit expensive, honestly. If you compare using Uber and using your public transport, Uber is a little bit more expensive. But basically it's up to you. So you choose what transportation you want to use. If you're using your own car, great. If you're using public transport, it's fine. If you're using Uber, it's definitely up to you. But make sure you find an area where transport will not be a problem for you, because you don't want to move into an area where you are having problems getting to work and then coming back from work. It doesn't make sense. Then why are you moving into the new place? Get me? Third point is you need to make sure you go and view the place before you move into it. I cannot stress this enough. See, when they take pictures and they upload them on their website, they may look all great, but you could find that those were pictures taken 10 years ago, and then now the place doesn't look so great anymore. So you want to make sure you go and view the place. And don't just view one place. View at least 3 to 4 places where the rent prices are more or less the same, and the location is also around the same area, so that it's easier for you to move around. But make sure, please, make sure you go and view the place before you actually decide to move into the area. I think that was the third thing. Fourth thing is decide whether you want to go in a place where the electricity is prepaid or where it's not. So you gotta decide on that one. I believe prepaid electricity is better, because then you can see exactly where everything is going, but it's absolutely up to you. And it also depends on, like, different areas have like different ways of doing the electricity part, but just double check which type of electricity you're using. Is it prepaid or it's the meter one, where everything is accumulated onto your rent at the beginning of the month, at the end of the month, sorry. So next step is check your levies. So check if you have to pay for your not sewage, what the hell am I thinking? Check if you need to pay for parking in that area or it comes with a package. Check if you have to pay for waste, garbage, or it comes with the package, and check if you have to pay for water. So those are the 3 things. So check if you're gonna have to pay for those, I think it's called utilities. Yeah, so check if you have to pay for those separate or everything's actually tailored into your monthly rent. Okay, because that's very, very important, because if it's not, then it's going to be extra money that you're going to be taking out, you're going to be paying over and above the rent that you're already going to be paying. So you have to be prepared for such and know exactly like what are you paying, what are you paying it for, and where you stand with everything, so that you can actually plan your finances proper. Okay, and then I think that's about it when it comes to rent. And check your lease. Please read your lease agreement. Check when it's increasing. Check when you need to renew it, and check what are they saying about the deposit. So the deposit, your landlord is meant to actually put it into a savings account, where it's going to yield you some interest, so that when you take your deposit at the end of the lease period, you have some interest accumulated. So just double check all those things before you actually sign the lease. Okay, check all those things. If you need internet, check if they have Wi-Fi. If you're using a router and they don't have Wi-Fi, check if that area has coverage in the network that you're using for your router. Okay, because that's like really, really, really important. Next thing is you need to draw up a to-do list, I feel. Because that actually guides you and makes sure that you do everything that you need done in time before you actually do the moving process. So I had a to-do list where I stated that I have to finish packing on this day, I have to finalize transport on this day, I had to have paid the deposits and everything on this day, and they gave me like a deadline to say, okay, fine, you have to sort out your electricity like 2 days or like a day before you move in, because if you do not, then you'll move in without electricity. So I had to do all those things before I move in. So I had like a to-do list. So I had packing, I had transportation, so I had to sort out my transport on a specific day so that I know when I need to move. The driver knows, okay, fine, he's fetching me at this time, we're going from this place to that place, so basically point A to point B, and this is how much we're negotiating that we're going to be I'm going to be paying for the trip. Okay, so you need to sort all that out. Another thing you need to do, as I said, you need to make sure you have paid your deposits. They'll give you like a day and say you need to pay your deposit maybe like 2 days before you move in, type of thing. So make sure you sort that out. And then also make sure, if you are going to be using prepaid electricity, make sure you sort everything out before you move in, so that when you move in, you actually have electricity. Okay, got it. And then if, like myself, you were moving into a new apartment and you were new in the city, then you will need a few things. Like you will need a bed, you will need a fridge, you will need maybe like a microwave, you will need some couches if you are moving into an area which has a room in which will have a dining area or like a sitting area. You will need like kitchenware. Basically, you'll need some spoons, you need some pots, you will need some kettle, you will need what other thing you need to cook, guys? Like chopping boards, knives, the works, all those kitchen things you'll need to actually be functional and be able to live in that house or in that flat. So you'll need all those things. So I had a list of things that I needed. So I needed a bed. I'll tell you guys how much everything costed just now. So I needed a bed, I needed a dinner set, I needed pots, I needed a chopping board, I needed to do my groceries, because where I lived before, I did like minimal groceries because I knew I was only there for like 2 months. So I had to do like proper full-on groceries. I had to sort out pillows, pillowcases, bedding. It was just like a whole list of things that I needed to sort out. But I did all that and I made sure I added it onto my to-do list so that I do everything before I actually move into the new apartment. Okay, so now we're gonna go through the prices. So I needed a bed. So they had a special at it's called Decofern. There's one in Fourways. That's where I actually got my bed from, because I was gonna be moving in an area in Fourways. So they had like the special where they were selling a bed which had the headboard thingy attached to the base of the bed, and they were selling it for like 3.5, and it was actually I think like 3.8 before. So I took the special and I got that bed from them. And then I had to buy a dinner set. So I went to Checkers and I got a dinner set. I got like a cheap one. It was like less than 150 rands. I think it was like 120 or 125 rands. I got that. Pots, I did not compromise those. I went to Game and I got pots and they were around 600 rands for... They have a frying pan, they have like a big one, they have like a medium and a small like saucepan. And then it also came with 2 spoons and that spatula for frying eggs. Yes, it came with those. So I love my pots. I bought like those aluminium, is it aluminium? I think, yeah, the aluminium pots, because they're those non-stick ones. I bought those ones and I absolutely love them. Chopping board I was gonna buy, but my mama dearest decided she was gonna take care of that for me, and she said she was gonna buy me spoons as well. So the spoons, the pegs, and chopping board, my mom took care of that. And then I had to get a fridge. So my fridge, I also got it at Game in 4 ways, and I got it for like less than 3,000 rands. I bought like it's not a bar fridge, it's like those long ones, one with a freezer on the top and like a normal fridge at the bottom. It was going for like around 2.5 to 2.7, so I got that. And then so I didn't buy a microwave first time when I was moving in, because I felt like it wasn't really like a necessity at the point. And then I did my groceries, so I did like my full-on grocery list. So before I bought all those things, because I bought those like 3 days or 2 days before I moved in. I had already started buying bedding, so I bought my bedding, I bought a comforter, I bought sheets, I bought pillowcases, I bought pillows. And then I bought what else did I buy? Yeah, that's about it basically. That's about it. And then I had to pay my deposit, which was around 8,000 rands. I think it was like 7.9 thousand rands. That was including my first month. That was including rent, rates, and the works. So yeah, that was how I did my moving in. So overall, the important things you need to do is to please make sure you have a to-do list and have a checklist, because let's say you're moving into a new apartment and you're moving from another apartment. You want to make sure you take everything with you, and you want to also make sure that everything is taken care of. If you're going to need a courier guy, make sure you sort that out and make sure everything, your stuff and your belonging is packed properly, so that it doesn't get damaged along the way, and all the drama. So I'm just gonna do a rough calculation. I have my calculator right here, because I just want to tell you guys how much it roughly cost me to move into a new apartment. So I'm gonna add my bed, which was 3.5. I'm gonna add my dinner set, which was around 125. I'm gonna add my pots, which was 600 rands. I'm gonna add my fridge, which was 2.7. I'm gonna add the bedding and pillowcases. I'm just gonna say it was around 500 rands. Actually, I think that's low, around 6. And then I normally do groceries for 1.5, so I'm gonna add my groceries. And then so basically that in total comes to an amount of around 9,025 rand. And then I'm gonna add my deposit, which was around 9.7. So overall I spent around 18 grand just to move into a new apartment, because it was a new place. I did not have anything at all. I had to buy everything from scratch, and that's not even counting some of the things I had to buy after I've moved in, because you still need like your kettle, which my dearest mom bought for me, and you still need like living things, guys. You still need them. So I'm still buying stuff even today. But yeah, that was how I moved into my new apartment. I am gonna add it on the description below if you want to take some notes that you might use when you're moving into a new apartment next time. The best advice I would give you is that if you are planning into moving in, if you are planning on, English data bundles, guys, and anyways, if you are planning on moving into a new apartment, make sure you have at least an amount of about 10,000 rand saved. And even that I feel is a bit low, because you have to pay your deposit, you have to pay your first month's rent, And groceries, I understand you can take your previous groceries and try to live off that, but if you're moving into a new area and you can't really take your bedding, you can't take your bed, your fridge, your kettle, and all those things with you into the new area, into the new place, then you might want to at least have 20,000 rands that you're going to be using to move into a new area, so that you can actually move into the new place and be functional, and everything will become a bit more practical. Yeah, so all the best to those who are moving into a new area. I will add everything on the description box below if you need some more information, or if you could not take notes during the video. It's absolutely fine. If you've got any questions or any advice you would like to give someone who's moving into a new area, you can leave them on the comment section below. I would love to hear from you guys. From me to you, it is now bye bye. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your family and friends. Love you lots. Bye.